Ladies and gentlemen, please have the student athletes approach the foul line for the playing of our national anthem. That's a nice touch. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have fun and score well.
Georgia 3, Georgia 3, 1, 2, 3, Georgia! Hold up just a second. They're closer, they have temperamental foul line. So if it should go off and you hit a foul, stay right there. Alright? So we can see the individual move.
Fire 3! Fire 3! 1, 2, 3! Fire!
Anytime you're ready, Steve? All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Varsity Media broadcast of Section 5 Bowling. As always, we're here at Hilton's Pleasure Lanes for an exciting matchup and a West Side matchup between two of the top teams in the Western Monroe County, the visiting Greece Athena Trojans and the host Hilton Cadets. We're excited to see this match play out, but more excited that we have a special guest with us here today. He was, for those familiar with Hilton Bowling or Monroe County or Section 5 Bowling, out of retirement, we have brought in old Hilton coach Jim Feely. So he'll be joining me, and with his expertise and experience and knowledge of all these players and of Section 5 bowling, it should be a lot of fun. The players have just started their first game, in their first frame of the first game. We'll let them get going. Coach Feely, what's it feel like to be back?
It's exciting. It brings back a lot of great memories. I recruited all of the kids that are bowling here today, so pretty nostalgic and glad I have the opportunity.
had an opportunity to update Coach Feely on some of the bowling that they've done in the most recent weeks. Boys team really taking off and looking like they're gearing up in the right time of year for the sectionals. And the girls at Hilton have just always been strong.
The girls have been dominant since 2009. They'll win another division this year, which there's only been 2 years since 2009 that they didn't win the division. So they have been a true powerhouse.
And in recent weeks, we've seen a lot of strong games from the girls, both Taylor Lucas and Elena Carr with 600 series just last week, which is a big deal for me, but probably old hat for those two. On the boys' side, we had 3 of the boys bowlers with 650 series last week, and so they're really taking off. Unfortunately, Tommy Parsons will not be with us today, so they're down a bowler against a strong Greece Athena team. As we have in the past, we're going to try to give you some of what's going on throughout these 8 lanes. Because of COVID restrictions, we're using 8 lanes, 4 for the boys, 4 for the girls. At Pleasure Lanes, it's lane 7, 8 for the boys, and 9 and 10 for the boys, 11 and 12, 13 and 14 for the girls. And we'll just migrate back and forth to give you updates on what's going on in all these lanes, and hopefully be able to spotlight a few bowlers along the way. So, looking at the bowling, we're going to start from the right, and we're going to just spend some time here on lanes 13 and 14. And as approaching for her first ball in the second frame is Jenny Reeser. Throws pretty much a straight ball, but with a little bend at the end. She's coming off a spare in the first. She picks up 8 pins, a nasty split with the 8-10. For Greece Athena, is Julia Levy. She has a 9 in the first and picks up 9 pins in her first throw in the second. Reeser's probably just looking at it just to get one of these 2 here.
Always, that's what, when you have a split, if you're fortunate enough to pick it, that's great, but you always want to come away with something.
It looked like she almost had an opportunity there. Levy with her second ball. Just a little bit right. Staying with lanes 13 and 14. Up to bowl next for Greece Athena will be Brianna Hazinski. Brianna had a strike in the first. She's not happy with that first ball. She put it in the gutter, left. Not exactly the way you want to follow up a strike. And Elena Carr for her first ball in the second. Elena Carr hits the pocket a little soft. She's got herself a split.
Get one.
Brianna Zinski picked up 6 in her second ball. She's got a 22 in the second. Megan Stamp gets 9 for her first ball in the second. And Carr picks up 1 of the 2, leaves an open frame with a 27 in the second frame. We're going to slide over to lanes 11 and 12, and Bella Ferraro. Looks like she hit it. Oh, she deserved a better result than a 7-10. I thought she got the pocket real nice. Bella had a split in the first, got picked up the spare though. 2 strikes in a row, and then the fourth, she's got the tough 7-10. For Greece Athena, Ashlyn Cooney, coming off of 2 strikes, has now got 3 in a row. Bella Ferraro will get the 10 pin. She'll have an open with 9 pins in the 4th frame. And Bella Ferraro has 76 through 4. Taylor Lucas with a strike, 6 spare in the 2nd, strike in the 3rd, 4th frame. Taylor Lucas, 3 strikes in the first 4 frames. Coach, you know these girls better than I do, and I just have been reporting out just scores in the last few broadcasts. Tell us a little bit about Taylor Lucas and the development of her game.
Taylor, we took on as a 7th grader. She's now a senior. Actually is looking at a couple of big-time schools, Nebraska being one of them. Taylor is one of the most consistent bowlers that we ever had. She was incredible to coach. She's like a sponge. And when she gets her confidence to where it should be, she's one of the best bowlers in Section 5.
She's definitely shown it recently with a 600 series last week. Emily Chapman picks up the spare. Just to update Emily Chapman through 5 frames. She has started with a spare, ended with a spare, 3 strikes in a row in the middle. She's got a 97 through 4. An excellent game for Emily Chapman. Cooney from Athena coming off of 3 strikes in a row. Picks up her 4th. Bella Ferraro on lane 12 going right away. Crosses over and gets to Brooklyn. She didn't see it. Don't think she was happy with that throw. I'm glad we can update her with that.
Everything about Bella is ball speed. When she keeps her ball speed up to where it should be for the lane conditions, she is spot on all the time. That last shot there was a great example of her decelerating the ball speed, and it crossed over, but she was fortunate.
Taylor Lucas with a strike. We're going to head over to lanes 9 and 10 for the first time to pick up a look at what the boys are doing. Kenny Haslip started with a strike, spare, 9 in the 4th on his first ball, and he'll get to pick up the spare 58 through 3. And Anthony Getty on his first ball in the 4th got the head pin straight on. He got an excellent game going with 3 strikes to start, a spare in the 4th. It'll be 98 through 4 for Anthony Getty.
Anthony's gained about 6 inches since last year, so I'm sure coach has had to work with adjusting his stride and his swing to match his height, but it looks very nice.
Just the 7 pin for Anthony Getty. He's got that. Camden Drexel for his ball, first ball in the 5th. Coming off a strike. He's got 2 in a row. Matthew Carmester coming up for Hilton. Strikes in the 1st, 3rd, and 4th. A spare in the 2nd. Three in a row for Matthew Carmestro. Seems like a streaky bowler himself.
When he gets on a roll, it's a scary thing for all of Section 5. He is a incredible bowler who, again, when his confidence is where it should be, he's unstoppable.
Ryan Phillips has 5 in a row to start out his first game of the day. Kenny Haslip. Looks like that ball got a little deep into the pocket. Picks up 9. Haslip's got 77 through 4.
Kenny looks like has adjusted his angle a little bit from last year. He's gone to a little more of a down and in shot, but it looks like he's handled that adjustment very well.
We're looking at Getty again now on the 9th, on lane 9. Coming off 2 spares in a row after 3 strikes in a row. He's back on the strike train. having, again, excellent game, 118 through 5.
The amazing thing that you forget sometimes, he's only a freshman, so he's got a lot of bowling life left with the cadets. It should be exciting to watch.
Bobby Richmond having an excellent game for Greece Athena. He just bowled his 4th strike in a row, 5 strikes in 6 frames with a spare in the second. So he's got 100 through 4. Camden Drexel for Greece Athena coming off 2 strikes in a row. Count that 3. Boy, Greece Athena's coming to play today. Boys are going to have their hands full today. Matthew Carmestro to pick up the soldier. Nice pickup by Matthew.
Very nice pickup nice follow through. Got the ball down the alley very nicely on that.
Now I'm going to ask you, did you work with Matthew on the pose at the very end? Because you can take a picture of that follow through.
I'm going to give his dad that credit. He would stand back here with a camera on several occasions. So
Haslip, a big backswing. Look, he's scratching the ceiling. Oh, he's on the no tap. He's 9 on that first ball 4 times in a row. We'll watch Kenny Haslip try to pick up the spare, just the 10 pin, and slide our way over then to lanes 7 and 8 and get an update on the boys playing over there. Haslip picks up his spare, and we'll slide over to 7 and 8. Matt Latona from Greece Athena just picked up a strike, his 2nd in a row. Elliot Honan, the 2-handed delivery, misses the head pin, picks up 7. For Hilton, it's Mason Williams. He gets a strike after an open in the 5th, and with a 79, he strikes in the 6th. Honan to pick up the spare. Did not come back enough for him. Brendan Stevenson with his first ball. Leaves the 10 pin. So we got a chance to talk about Anthony Getty a little bit. What else strikes you about these 6 young men from Hilton that you know very well?
Well, the fact that last year, which was my last year, they really came together as a team. They won their division very young. We only graduated 2 of the bowlers, so they come back, and it's clear just watching them that coaches got them. They're all standing together. They're all rooting for each other. So it's really a nice thing to see, and they're going to be a powerhouse for a few more years. They're very young.
Exciting to see. Morrell with his first ball gets it a fall, and he's got himself a strike. Morrell had a split in the last. He's got 67 through 5 with a strike in the 6th.
The key for Jake will always be, can he hit the same mark twice? It's one of the things that he struggles with a little bit. And when he hits the mark that he's supposed to, the results like the last ball are evident. So it's just a constant reminder for him to make sure he's hitting the right mark.
Having coached soccer and basketball for the cadets, it's a little bit different watching bowling. You see so much with the strategy, with those sports that the experiences I have. The mental approach to bowling seems to be at a greater importance than maybe anywhere else. I know there's a technical side, but there's definitely a mental side to this.
Without question. I mean, this is one of those sports where it's you, the ball, and the pins. The pins aren't moving. Nobody's playing defense. So it's really your level. The first thing we taught the kids was that their confidence in their abilities is everything, and then to develop concentration to be able to stay focused with everything that's going around them. And if you do those two things, it should lend to some consistency, which will give you a great game. We called it having the 3 C's, and from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's still being carried on today.
Is one of those 3 C's centered around having a short memory?
Amen. Amen.
Being able to shake off those rough frames to come back, because it's still a brand new 10 pins coming up next time. Let's take a look at Mason Williams one more time before we slide back over, as the girls are about to finish up on their lanes. Mason leaves a 7 pin. Again, Mason is coming off a strike, 79 in the 5th, and we'll get a score in the 6th if he can pick up this spare.
Mason has always had one of the prettiest forms of anybody that we ever had, and it looks like he's grown some since last year, and he's really getting the ball nice to the pocket, which was really never an issue. So I would expect big things from him, not only today, but for the rest of his career.
Mason to pick up the spare. He's got it, solid, and Mason Williams will have a 99 through 6. We're going to slide over just to the boys because we got a couple of Hilton bowlers in a row to come up. Just a note of emphasis here is that from Greece Athena, Ryan Phillips has 7 strikes in a row to start out his first game. So we're definitely going to want to keep an eye on that to see how that develops through the 8th, 9th, and 10th frames. Matthew Carmestro up in the 7th. Coming off a spare, 3 strikes in a row and a spare in the 6th. Carmestro's ball comes back strong. Oh, just leaves us the solid 10. Matthew Carmestro's attempt to the spare in the 7th, just a little bit inside. It's an open frame for Matthew.
That makes a lot of sense to me.
Haslip with his 7th frame, coming off of 5 spares in a row. All marks, but not the strikes that he's hoping for. Crossed over and got 9 again. He's struggling to find his mark here today. Anthony Getty coming off a strike in the 7th. And he's got another one in the 8th. Three in a row for Anthony Getty. Haslip to get a spare. He's getting lots of practice on picking up spares, but again, you can see the frustration a little bit in his face.
Anthony's a classic example of how less is more with this sport. He has a very simple back, brings the ball back and just follows through very nicely. Pretty much what we call a down and in shot, but it's very consistent, very easy to adjust. When the lanes break down, it'll serve him well.
Matthew Carmestro with 8 in the 8th frame. We're going to slide over to the girls as they're in the 10th frame. Just give you an update on lanes 11 and 12. Athena bowlers have finished up. We have Haley Garbowski with 224. Nice game for her. Ashlyn Cooney with a 221. Emily Chapman for Hilton had a 209. in her first game. Momo Ferraro with a 203. And Taylor Lucas, who had a 203 in the 9th, has an 8 spare in the first 2 balls in the 10th.
She can go out to a
223 is there where she can end up, which would be an excellent game for anyone. .222 for Taylor Lucas in her first game.
Nice game, ladies.
On lanes 13 and 14. Brianna Hodzinski from Greece Athena has a 54 in the 6th, a strike in the 7th, 9 in her first ball in the 8th.
Do it again. Do it again.
Elena Carr, her first ball in the 8th is a strike. Ladies and gentlemen, an update from lanes 9 and 10. Ryan Phillips got a 9 on his first ball in the 8th. That puts an end of 7 strikes in a row. Excellent game over here. I'm sure he'll finish up strong. Back to 13 and 14. We got 2 Greece Athena bowlers. Megan Stirrup in her first ball in the 8th. Picks up 8. And Julia LeVay with her second ball. Oh, her first ball, she picks up 3. Coach, I got to ask you. There seems to be a lot of people who know each other from Greece Athena and Hilton, which seems to be the case in a lot of sports. But there's quite a community here with the bowling.
Well, there's probably not a Friday or Saturday that somebody isn't in somebody's house, and they all bowl on the same kind of travel teams on the weekend. So the camaraderie between these two teams, as much as they are competitive, they're also rooting for each other, and it's really a close-knit group of people.
And I think it's the right balance of competitiveness and sportsmanship that we're seeing here. Well, while they started the second game, let's just take a look at lanes 11 and 12. Bella Ferraro with her first ball in the first. It picks up a strike. Emily Chapman got a spare for Greece Athena. Haley Grabowski picked up a strike, and then Ashley Cooney picked up 9 and then missed the 7 pin. Jenny Reeser on lane 14, coming off a strike, has a 123 through 7. Picks up 9 in the 9th. The girls are finishing up their 9th frame on lanes 13 and 14. Just keeping an eye out. Jenny Reeser to pick up her spare in 14. She's got it. Megan Stirrup for Greece Athena in her first ball in the 9th. Picks up 7. Emily Chapman, a strike in the second on lane 12. She's got a spare in the first, a strike in the second. Elena Carr, the 9th frame, coming off a spare, then a strike in the 8th. She crossed over. Hey, she'll take it. It's a double. One thing about Elena, she'll always let you know how she's bowling.
As we say, it looks good up on the screen. It's a scorecard, not a postcard, so she'll take it.
Gotta love the vernacular in the bowling community. Stirrup to get the spare. Stirrup, nice. Picks up the spare. Jonah LeVay to pick first ball for Greece Athena in the 10th. The boys are in the 10th on all 4 lanes. We'll take a look over there. For Greece Athena, Bobby Richmond finished up with a strike and ends up with a 237 in game one. Anthony Getty throwing his final ball of the first game. 214 in the ninth and ends up with a 233 for Anthony Getty in his first game. Nice game for Anthony Getty. Updates from lanes 7 and 8. Elliot Honan with a 160 in his first game. Mason Williams with a 179 for Hilton finishes up. Matthew Carmestro, 10th frame. We're doing 4-lane duty here with a strike on his first ball. For Greece Athena, Camden Drexel got a spare in the 10th, so he's earned a 1 extra ball. Camden's got a 189 through 9. Matthew Carmestro struck in the 9th, in the first ball in the 10th, looking for 3 in a row. He's got 3 in a row, trying to finish strong is Matthew Carmestro. Camden Drexel, his final ball picks up 9, and Drexel ends up with a 208. Stevenson gets 3 strikes in a row for Hilton, with coming strikes in the 8th, the 9th, and 3 in the row in the 10th for a 219. Ryan Phillips had the 7 strikes in a row to start out game 1 with 2 spares in the 8th and 9th. All marks, first ball in the 10th. Leaves his 10-7 pin. Zach Harnischfeger with 150, he finished up with. Hassel looks like he may have found it again. He's got 2 strikes in a row. Ryan Phillips to pick up his spare. 237 in the 9th for Phillips. Possible 257. Nice game for Ryan if he was able to go get that. Matt Latona from Greece Athena on lane 8. So he left the 9 pin. He picks it up for the spare. And Murill has a split in the 10th. He gets the 2. Murill with a 152 in his first game. Ryan Phillips picks up 7 in his final ball. Ends up with a 253. Ryan Phillips, 253. Kenny Haslip, again, with 7 spares in a row. All marks, 7 spares in a row. End up with a strike of the 9th, strike of the 10th, and ends up with a 9 in his second ball. And Matt Latona to finish up game 1 over on 7 and 8 ends up with, on his final ball, a 7. Haslip gets the spare. Haslip ends up with a 203.
That's evidence of the kind of bowling that we're looking at in terms of on these lanes 9 and 10. Of the 6 bowlers, all of them threw 200s, with the low being 203 and the high being 253. There are a lot of men's teams that would love to be able to say those things.
We're just looking for Matt Latona's score from Greece Athena. I believe a 171 is what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Just doing our calculations for today. Oh. You want to take this? I'm going to get them. So we got the scores for the first matches, and what a close one this turned out to be. We saw some really excellent games. The boys come away with, for Hilton, end up with a 10-60, and able to squeak out a close one to a Greece Athena's 10-29. So Hilton will gain the point there. I feel like this is going to be the case in all three games here today.
It certainly will. It is normally, and especially today without Tommy Parsons, who really anchors this squad, it's going to shrink those numbers even closer.
It'll be interesting to see because I've yet to see a close match for the boys or the girls this year here at home. See what happens to the focus and as we get through the second and then third games. So little updates again. Lanes 11 and 12, the girls are just slightly start out with them. An update for Greece Athena. We're looking at Haley Garbowski and Ashlyn Cooney. Haley Garbowski is it's got an 87 through 5 with a strike in the 6th. And Cooney, who just got a spare in the 5th, has a 58 in the 4th frame. Now we got a bunch of we've got Emily Chapman for Hilton coming up. Two spares in the 5th, 88 in the 4th. This Emily Chapman's ball in the 6th. Looks like it got a little farther right than normal. Am I correct, Coach?
Yeah, and fortunately for her, the speed was right, so it took the dry and snapped it back to the pocket, and she got away with it.
Cooney with 9 in her first ball in the 6th. Up is Momo Ferraro with a strike. That's 2 in a row, and now she's in the 6th.
Momo, again, is one of those individuals when her confidence level is where it should be. She's one of the best in Section 5, especially given the fact that she's 3'6". So I'm kidding about that. She's probably 4'2". But she gets everything she can out of that body, I'll tell you that much.
I was going to say, did she grow in the last week? Because I didn't see the 3'4" before. Taylor Lucas coming off 2 strikes in a row in the 4th and the 5th. Doesn't look like a whole lot of new moving parts for Taylor Lucas.
Again, it's one of those nice clean shots where it's just bring the ball back, follow through with it, get the right rotation, and it's just up and into the pocket.
I always say across sports, the fewer moving parts, the fewer variables, the fewer things that can go wrong. And it looks like Taylor Lucas kind of lives that with her throw.
Without question. And one of the things, that we would struggle with were with bowlers who really wanted to do the 2-hand crank and stuff that they see on TV, and we would try to just simplify things.
Emily Chapman with a strike in the 7th. That's 2 in a row for her. Emily Chapman's got a 108 in the 5th with a strike in the 6th and the 7th. Bella Ferraro, 2 strikes in the first 2 frames, then an open, a spare, and then 2 strikes in a row. Ferraro in the 7th. It doesn't get back far enough, and she picks up 7 in the 7th. Cooney coming off an open in the 7th and the 6th. Her first ball in the 7th. Cooney gets a strike. Nice way to answer the open frame with a strike in the 7th. Looks like we have some lane issues on the lanes 13 and 14. Bella Ferraro on lane 11 to pick up her spare. Chopped it just a little bit. It's nice to see her teammates pick her up when she has that open frame.
Yeah, that's that's one of the things that we stress, and it's clear coach is still stressing it now. First and foremost, like you said earlier, once the ball leaves your hand, it's going to do what it's going to do. Let it go if it doesn't do what you wanted, and have your teammates pick you up.
Lucas looking for 4 in a row. Trying a little body language, a little English. Didn't quite get it there for her. She got 9 in the 7th. Taylor Lucas got a 119 in the 5th frame. See if Lucas can pick up her spare in the 7th. And we'll give you updates from the boys. Lucas got her spare. She's got a 139 through 6. Sliding over to lanes 9 and 10, we got Anthony Getty coming up in the 4th. Anthony's got a strike in the 1st, 9 spare in the 2nd, strike in the 3rd. Anthony Getty coming off a strong first game of 233. Looking to keep that going. Hit a little bit high. Got 9 pins. Haslip coming off a spare in the 1st, strike in the 2nd. Trying to pick up his spare in the 3rd. Solid throw. And he'll end up spare, strike, spare to start his 2nd game. Getty looks to pick up his spare. And that picks it up. Bobby Richmond picks up 9 pins on his first ball on lane 9. Matthew Carmestra coming up on lane 10. Had an open in the 1st and came back with 2 strikes in a row. Looks like a strong ball from Matthew when the 7 goes down. Richmond gets his spare in lane 9. Bella Ferraro to pick up her spare in lane 12. And there was some extra paint on that pin. But a spare is a spare. What's the line? It's
we always said that it's not a postcard, it's a scorecard. So.
And it's a spare in the card. Camden Drexel from Greece Athena. His first ball in the 4th. Picks up 9. Haslip. Strike, spare, strike, spare, 4th frame, and he's got a strike. Mason Williams with a strike on lane 8. That's 4 in a row to start out his 2nd game. So Mason Williams with a strong start to the 2nd game. Stevenson from Hilton will be up next on lane 8. The strike with a 9 and spare in the 2nd, a strike in the 3rd. Stevenson with his throw on the 4th. Solid shot in the pocket. He's got 3 strikes in 4 frames. Sliding over to lane 11 and 12, Emily Chapman. Her first ball in the 9th. They're way ahead of everybody else. She picked up 8 with a split, but this is a manageable split.
Yeah, of all the splits there are, this is the one you want if you have to have one.
Garbowski with a strike. Elena Carr picking up her spare on lane 13. Here comes Chapman. She's going to try to split it. She doesn't get quite far enough left. And she'll have an open in the 9th. 184 in the 9th. Still a strong game for Emily Chapman. Cooney for Grease Athena. And she gets a strike. Momo with her, doesn't quite get the pocket on lane 11. She'll pick up 9 for Ferraro. She's got a 150 in the 8th and picks up a 9 in the 9th. And Bella picks up the spare. So, Coach, I got to ask you a question. Your philosophy is coaching. Yeah, I see girls still coming to you, even here today, asking your opinion. I think, how much is your suggestions, or you trying to get your players to really think about their own game and what they think they should need to do?
Well, the coach in me wants to say that it has everything to do with the coach. The reality, however, is, you know, we provide the suggestions, and the main suggestion we provide is to have confidence in your abilities. If you have confidence in who you are and what you're doing, that's the foundation for everything else to be built on, and that's what you're seeing here. And when the girls come to you, sometimes they're just looking for a little bolst, a reassurance that their confidence is where it should be.
I equate it to like a little bit of golf. You know your swing as well as anybody. You can make suggestions, but you know what you have to do. Emily Chapman picking up 7 in the 10th on her first ball. She'll need a mark to get over a 200 game here. Garbowski from Grease Athena coming off a strike in the 9th.
To piggyback on that thought, you know, this is a sport where you were incredibly correct when you said it's very mental activity, and so oftentimes when you see somebody not doing what they should be doing, it's really not anything physical. They've lost their confidence, and in losing their confidence, they lose their stroke on the lanes, and it's a matter of getting them back to believe what they're doing.
Again, 11 and 12, lanes 11 and 12 are far ahead of everybody else, so we're going to stick with them as they finish up. Garbowski from Grease Athena just got 3 strikes in a row. She's got 1 more for possible 4 in a row to a possible 216 game. Ferraro, as she enters the 10th, it looks like she's lost her way just a little bit. A couple opens and a spare. And Garbowski ends the game, her second game, with 4 in a row. Nice finish for her. And she ends up with that 216 game that I spoke of. Ferraro to try to pick up a spare in the 10th to earn a 3rd ball, and she knew right away. She may need a little break just to think about what she's been doing. She's last 4 frames has not been her. She ends up with a 174 in her second game. Ashlyn Cooney from Grease Athena picks up 9 pins and her first ball in the 10th. Leaving the 10 pin, she'll look to get the spare to earn a 3rd ball. And she will do it. Taylor Lucas, a strike in the 9th, a 178 through 8, and she gets a strike on her first ball. It's 2 in a row. First ball in the 10th, she's got 2 in a row. Cooney for her final throw in the second game, and she picks up 9 pins. She ends up with a 165. Taylor Lucas, another strong game for her coming up. Second ball in the 10th. Oh, she gets a 9. She got 207 in the 9th. Possible 227 game for Taylor Lucas if she were to pick up this 7 pin. Do what she does. And Taylor Lucas with a 227. Because we have the time, just giving an update that from on lanes 11 and 12, Haley Garbowski with a 224 and 216. And Ashlyn Cooney with a 221 and then 165 in the second. For the Hilton bowlers, Emily Chapman with a 209 in the first game at 193, a 402 combined games. Momo Ferraro with a 203, then a 174 with a 377 through 2 games. Taylor Lucas, 222, 227, and she has a 449 through 2 games. Lanes 13 and 14 are a little bit behind. There's some lane problems. It looks like that's fixed and ready to go. Megan Sturp for Greece Athena's up. She's going to throw her first ball in the 3rd frame. Again, 3rd frame from 13 and 14. Straight ball, hits the head pin. She picks up 8. She'll have a split. Elena Carr in her 3rd frame, first ball. Picks up 7. 9 spare in the first, open in the second, a 7 in her first ball in the 3rd. Megan Sturp with her second ball. Picks up 1. It's an open frame. Elena Carr picks up her spare in the 3rd. We're going to slide over to the boys. We got some exciting bowling going on the boys. On 11, a 9 and 10, Ryan Phillips ends up with 9 on his first ball. Bobby Richmond gets 7 on his first ball. I'll give you updates on the overall scores. For Greece Athena, Bobby Richmond with a 131 in the 7th. Ryan Phillips to get his spare. He gets it. Bobby Richmond for his spare in the 8th. And he picks that up. For Hilton bowlers, we have a 128 for Anthony Getty through 6. We're coming off a spare in the 7th. We've got 103 for Carmestro, 103 through 6 for Matthew Carmestro with a strike in the 7th, and 127 for Haslam in the 6th, and he'll have a coming off a spare in the 7th. 131 for Bobby Richmond in the 7th, 101 in the 5th for Camden Drexel, but he has the strikes in the 6th and the 7th. 139 in the 6th for Ryan Phillips with a spare in the 7th. Anthony Getty gets a strike in the 8th. Camden Drexel with a split. Matthew Carmester looked like he hit a little bump in the middle there. Strike in the 7th. Let's see if he's ironed it out. His first ball in the 8th. And he's got a strike again. 2 in a row for Carmestro. Can salvage a quality game. Stevenson over in lane 8. Just missed the spare attempt, but he has one heck of a game going for Stevenson. Stevenson has 186 through 8. So 177. He had 5 strikes in a row through the middle of his game. Yeah, it's open, but he has a 186 through 8. Jake Morrill coming off a spare in the 7th, 103 in the 6th. A strike for Morrill in the 8th. Haslip with a strike in the 8th. Mason Williams with 9 on lane 7. He is coming off 2 strikes in a row, but he's got a great game going. 188 in the 7th. It looks like another close match for the boys over here for Hilton and Athena.
As it should be. Without Tommy being here, it certainly closed the gap. The competition between the boys has always been strong, and it's showing itself today. It's really nice to see Mason doing what he's doing right now. We always knew the potential was there. As I say, he had one of the sweetest deliveries that we've ever seen, and it looks like everything else is caught up and it's working well. Nice to see.
208 through 8 for Mason Williams with a spare in the 9th. Stevenson coming off an open in the 8th, 186, picks up 8 in the 9th. Anthony Getty coming off a strike on 8 on lane 9. He's got 2 in a row going into the 10th frame now for Anthony Getty. And with a 148 through 7, he's looking for a strong game here. For Greece Athena, Latona gets a strike there in the 9th frame. Stevenson misses his pickup. That's 2 opens in a row. Again, with 5 strikes in a row in the middle, he still has a solid game of 194 through 9. We're looking for a solid 10th frame to finish strong.
It's a great when you can get 5 or 6 strikes in a row, but you always want to fill that. One of the things we always stressed was fill a box. So 4 strikes in a row with 5 straight misses isn't nearly as fun as 9 spare all the way through.
Carmestro misses his spare attempt in the 9th. He's got a 158. Coach, you know Matthew Carmestro as well as anybody. I'm going to make an observation. Tell me if I'm wrong. Feel free. But Matthew Carmestro, the more he's talking to other people, means the better he's playing. The more he's talking to himself, the worse it is.
Great observation. That's exactly that. When Matthew isn't thinking about bowling, he's one of the best bowlers in Section 5.
And I say that too because he's talking to himself quite a bit the last couple frames. Kenny Haslip in the 9th, coming off a strike, 147 in the 8th. Sorry, 147 in the 7th. Now he has 2 strikes in a row. Haslip looking to finish strong. Anthony Getty, the young man Anthony Getty, in the 10th frame, looking to finish strong. First ball. Looks like he found it. Yep, you knew that halfway down the lane that was going to be good.
Again, he's got such a sweet, simple swing. He just drops it out of the corner, and it just naturally loops right up into that pocket. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
Elliot Honan looks like he'll be the first one done between the boys in the second match. Gets 9 on his 3rd ball for a 213. Getty, 2 strikes in a row, 4 in a row total, 2 in the 10th. Honan ends up with a 213 for Greece Athena. Anthony Getty, can he finish with 5 in a row? Oh, looks like he crossed over. He picked up 9, but it's still a solid game. Anthony Getty, 237, Coach.
Well, and again, that's where that's a young man who knew he had 4 in a row, and he put a little extra on that last ball and ended up crossing over. As he gets older and his nerves get better, that throw won't change one bit. But it's still a great game.
248 for Mason Williams with a strike, 9 spare in the 10th. A great game for Mason Williams also. Matthew Carmestro, first ball in the 10th. He gets them all. A strike for Carmestro. Stevenson with a strike in the 10th.
Stevenson, it's really nice to see how far he's come, and I don't want to underestimate the fact that it's tough being the coach's son, which he is. So there's a little extra pressure there, and he appears to be handling it real well.
194 open in the 9th. 2 strikes for Stevenson in the 10th, looking to finish strong. Matthew Carmestro with his second ball in the 10th. 158 through 9 for Matt Carmestro. At the time Stevenson throwing exactly the same time, Carmestro gets 8, Stevenson gets 9. Brendan Stevenson with a 223 in his second game. 219 to a 223. Big match, and Stevenson's definitely coming through with a great score. Camden Drexel for Grease Athena, 185 in the 9th, a strike, a 9, and it picked up the spare. Drexel with a 205. Matthew Carmestro with a 177 in his second game. Bobby Richmond hit a 199 in his second game. Haslip starts his 10th frame, coming off 2 strikes in a row. He's got 3 in a row, first strike in the 10th. Morrill with a strike in the 10th to start up the 10th. A wobbly 7, looks like it's going to stay there. But Morrill at a 182 in 9th with a strike and then a 9 on his second ball in the 10th. So Morrill with a possible with a possible 203 for Morrill if he picks up this 7-pin. They're going to hang on. Oh, Morrill just missed the 7-pin. Ends up with a, I believe will be a 202. Haslip on lane 10. Another strike for Haslip. That's 4 in a row.
Kenny's throwing a real confident ball right now. You see it in his actions. When he turns around, you can see it on his face. And he is one that when he's believing in his shot, he can be one of the best in Section 5.
As we said earlier, he's a very streaky bowler. And I think we're about to see a streak right here. Maybe it's going to be an exciting third game for Kenny. With 178. Haslip to finish up his third game. 4 in a row. It's 5 in a row for Kenny Haslip. Nice finish for Kenny Haslip. We're wearing masks, but you can just see this. You can see the smiles underneath that mask. Kenny Haslip with a 237.
Nice job.
223. Jake Morrill ended with a 201 in his second game. 152 in his first, 201 in the second. Ryan Phillips from Grease Athena had a 224. Look at the scores here for the boys. Another great match for the boys. Grease Athena had a net of 1,030, and the Hilton boys had a net of 1,148 in that second game. The Hilton bowlers coming through strong. What do you say, Coach?
We would always tell the boys to try to shoot for something that started with 1,100, and if you did, that would keep you competitive throughout not only Section 5, but hopefully when you get into the States. 1100's an incredible score. Good for them.
Show off, ma'am, show off.
So everybody's just about starting their third game. The girls on lanes 12 and 13 are in the 7th frame of their third game. There are only 5 bowlers, two bowlers from Greece, Athena, here with us today. So they'll be naturally a little bit quicker. The girls on lanes 13 and 14, they are a little bit behind. There's some lane problems. We're at 5 o'clock right here. There's a hard stop at 6 o'clock, so we think we'll be able to get that third game in for the girls on lanes 13 and 14. But we may have to just give updates later on through the Twitter account. Go to Hilton Athletics Twitter account. There is a link there to the spreadsheet that we're providing of live action, live scores, updated live, and you get to see what the scores are for both Hilton and Greece Athena bowlers, and their total scores at this point. Bella Ferraro with her spare attempt on lane 12 in her 7th frame. Updates on lanes 11 and 12 as they are now deep into their third game. From Greece Athena, we have Haley Garbowski with a 136 and an open frame in the 7th. Cooney with a strike in the 7th, but an 85 in the 6th. Taylor Lucas having a solid game. Lucas looking to have a great day today. She picks up her 3rd strike in a row. Started with 3 in a row. Has spare in the 4th, 3 more in a row for Taylor Lucas. Just giving an update on the kind of day Taylor's having. 222 and a 227 in the 2nd game. She's got a 449 going through 2 games. Emily Chapman coming off an open with a split. That ball didn't seem to have a whole lot of pace for Emily Chapman.
No, Emily probably should move a couple boards right and try to get into some of the dry area. That was in the oil heavy and it just skated down. Never broke to the pocket.
Chapman picks up 7. She's got a 136 through 7. Oh, sorry, Chapman's got a 113 through 7 coming off an open, and she has another open in a row. 122 for Emily Chapman through 8. And you don't have to have watched a lot of matches to know that Emily's better than that, just having a rough day today so far. Cooney from Greece Athena, 85 in the 6th, a strike in the 7th. Looking to double up that strike. She does. Ferraro coming off a spare, gets a strike in the 8th. Bella Ferraro, 157 in the 7th, a strike in the 8th. Taylor Lucas up on lane 11, 129 through 5, a strike in the 6th, a strike in the 7th. She's looking for 4 in a row. She's got 4 in a row. She's hit her mark. Feeling good about herself, obviously, Coach.
Yeah, again, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but there are a few basics in bowling, and one of them is confidence, and she's going up there knowing she's going to throw a strike, and it's paying off for her right now.
Emily Chapman to start off the 9th frame. Looks like a little better ball, and it is. It's a strike in the 9th. Garbowski in the 9th.
Yeah.
Elena Carr in the 9th frame. Had a strike in the 7th, leaves the 10 pin on her ball in the 9th. She has a strike in the 8th. Bella Ferraro crosses over.
Nice job.
She gets an 8 on her first ball in the 9th. Cooney on her first ball in the 9th. She's coming off of 2 in a row. Oh, fortunately, just went out right on her and ended up in the gutter for her in her first ball. Ferraro looking to pick up the spare in the 9th. Whoa, she gets it. Elena Carr to pick up the 10 pin, and she's got her spare in the 9th.
Momo is one of the reasons I retired. She gets spares in the most unique ways, and it stops your heart every time, but she does it.
All right, we're going in the 10th frame of the second game on lanes 13 and 14. Again, where people are located through their day's matches are very different throughout the 8 lanes. LeVay ends up with a 9 in the 10th. Emily Richmond, coming off 2 strikes in a row, picks up 3. At the same time, on lane 12, Taylor Lucas just picked up her 5th strike in a row. LeVay, her second ball in the 10th. Emily Chapman in the 10th frame gets a strike. That's 2 in a row for Chapman. Garbowski with a strike in the 10th. Emily Richards with a strike in the 10th. Emily Richards with 4 strikes in a row to finish up her second game over there on lane 14. Brianna Hedzinski missed everything on their first ball in the 10th. Emily Chapman, she didn't get far enough right. She picks up 9 on her second ball in the 10th. Chapman, 151 in the 9th. Possibly 171 for Chapman. Garbowski with 3 in a row for Greece Athena. Reeser got a 9th on her final ball in the 10th. She ends up with a 180 in her second game. Jenny Reeser, her first ball in the 10th. Garbowski with her final ball of the day on lane 12. Garbowski gets 4 in a row to finish her day. Bella Ferraro in the 10th frame picks up 9. Jenny Reeser to get her spare in the 10th. She gets it. Bella Ferraro gets a spare. Jenny Reeser for her final ball in the 10th frame of her second game. She picks up 8 and ends up with a 180 in her third game, in the second game. Taylor Lucas coming up in the 10th. First ball in the 10th for Taylor Lucas. Leaves the 7-10.
Taylor?
Taylor Lucas had 5 strikes in a row and gets the 7-10 split in the 10th. She'll pick up the 7 and ends up with a 245 for Taylor Lucas. Solid match for Taylor Lucas. Solid bowling for Taylor Lucas. 694 series for Taylor Lucas.
It really is. If you find a kid going up 2 misses, that's a lot.
That's awesome.
Nice job, Annie M.
Thank you. I think it's not very good.
That was a nice follow through when you made that adjustment. So just remember, if it's sliding, get to the right and find.
Waiting for Elena
the drop.
Carr on lane to bowl in the lanes 13 and 14.
Good job, Momo. Good job, baby. How's your mom and dad? Tell them I said hi, all right? How's school going for you? A little strange, huh?
It's horrible. I hate it.
Yeah.
So we're all done. We're done on lanes 11 and 12. Give you an update from Greece Athena Garbowski with a 224, 216, 216 for a 656 series, 218, 219 average. Ashley Cooney 221, 165, 142 with a 528 series, a 176 average for Cooney. For the Hilton bowlers on lanes 11 and 12, we got Chapman with a 209, a 193, a 171, a 573 series, a 191 average. Bella Ferraro with a 203, 174, 214, 591 series for Ferraro. And Taylor Lucas with a solid day, 222, 227, 245, a 694. That's kind of a crushing open in the 10th. We're looking at that 700 series all day.
Knowing Taylor, I'm sure that's the thing that she'll take away from this day is not the fact that she shot 694, but that she was 6 pins shy of 700.
The best players always seem to set the goals as lofty as you can. Elena Carr finishing up in the 10th frame. Oh. She got a strike and then 9 on her second ball in the 10th. She'll pick up the spare and end up with a 189 for Carr in the second game.
I will comment.
What's Momo? What's Momo?
It's so weird. I'm literally a senior. That's so crazy that the freshman.
Only in 10.
You're only in 10?
I know.
I always made her
She's
older.
everyone does.
I know. I don't know how she has 3 more years. That's crazy.
Okay, so we have half of the girls are completed with their bowling. I can tell you that the Hilton girls have won the first 2 games. Girls on lanes 11 12 are completed, as the girls on lanes 13 and 14 are just starting their 3rd game. Again, we have a hard stop for this broadcast that we may not be able to get the girls all completed just because of time. We'll give you as long as we can, and we'll update you as much as possible. So we're going to really focus on the boys, because the boys on lane 7 8 are just about finishing up. They're in the 8th frame, whereas the boys on lanes 9 and 10 are finish up the 6th frame. Some updates for you from Greece Athena on 7 and 8. Honen's got 5 strikes in a row in the 8th frame. For Hilton, Mason Williams Mason Williams 184 through 7, and he's got a spare in the 8th. And Brendan Stevenson having a solid game. Came over at the right time through 7. Mason Williams starts out with 8 strikes in a row. We may find some excitement over here. Zach Harfensfeger from Greece Athena picks up his spare. Matthew Carmestro on lane 10 and gets a strike. Carmestro having a solid game in his 3rd game. Talking more to his teammates right now for Carmestro than himself.
Always a good sign. Always a good sign.
Truxell from Greece Athena on lane 9 picks up his spare. Justin for Greece Athena. And Justin may be a sub into this 3rd game.
All right, Nene, let it go, baby.
Ryan Phillips coming off of 2 strikes in a row. He's got 3 into the 8th. Matthew Carmestro, a spare in the 1st. 6 strikes in a row through 7. Justin Bowe misses his spare on lane 8. Kenny Haslip, an open in the 1st, strike, spare, strike, strike, spare, and the Carmestro leaves the 10 pin. Mason Williams gets 9. He's got a 203 through 8, and now a 9 in the 9th. Getty leaves the 7-10. Honan picks up his spare. Mason Williams on lane 8 to get a spare, pick up the deadly 10 pin. He does it. Zach Harnischfeger on his first ball on lane 7 picks up 9. Haslip gets a spare on lane 10. Getty with a field goal. Stevenson in the 9th for 9 in a row. He gets it. Folks, Stevenson's going into the 10th with 9 in a row.
It's, when you get into a rhythm and you believe in what you're doing, it just seems like the ball takes care of itself, and he's there right now. We'll see if he can go ahead and carry that through the end of the set.
Coach, educate the non-bowling coach here in me. We know the etiquette in baseball. You leave the pitcher alone. What's the etiquette right now as we're between frames for Brendan Stevenson?
Everybody will talk to him about everything but bowling at this point. Nobody's going to mention, as a coach, I was always 6 lanes away from the person at the time. I didn't want to be a part of it at all. So it's pretty much the same philosophy here. They'll just leave them alone and cross their fingers.
And when we get to the 10th frame, what's going to look like around here on the lanes?
It goes silent. It becomes a morgue, and the kids pick up on it right away. It's one of the first things they'll talk about is, oh my God, I can't believe how quiet it got.
So we have a couple bowlers. We're 1 away. Mason Williams is coming up for his 10th, and he just got 9. Williams with an excellent game. He's got 222 through 9 with a 9 in his first ball. Haslip with a strike in the 8th. Elliot Honan for Greece Athena got an 8 on his first ball in the 10th. He'll look to pick up the spare. I know we talked about it earlier, Coach, but the coach of Hilton is Brendan's father. And so he's standing right in front of us. He looks like the most nervous person in the place right now.
I guarantee you his mouth is real dry, and he doesn't want to move 1 inch or to the other because he's afraid he's going to jinx his son.
He's having it. Brendan looks a little bit more relaxed than his father, and it's very cool to see. Honan to finish up his final game for Greece Athena. 200 in the 9th. Honan strikes out in the 10th, gets a strike in the 10th. He ends up with a 221 for Honan. Mason Williams with a strike in his final ball, ends up with a 242 for Hilton. Excellent game for Mason Williams. Zach Harnischfeger, his first ball in the 10th is a strike. Here we go, Brendan Stevenson in the 10th. Brendan Stevenson in the 10th. Gets it! That's 10 in a row for Brendan Stevenson. So a slow fall for Brendan, but he gets the first ball as a strike. He's 2 away. As you predicted, Coach, the lanes have gone silent. All bowling is stopped. Main stage.
Dad is rocking back and forth.
Main stage, Brendan Stevenson. 10 in a row, looking for number 11. Stevenson with it now, 11 in a row. He's 1 away, folks. Greece Athena coach approached the Hilton coach, Coach Stevenson, and he kind of waved her off just there. He wants to be left alone as much as anybody else does.
Absolutely. Nobody at this point, everybody just wants this last ball to crush that pocket.
Brendan Stevenson, 11 in a row. 3rd game, final match, final throw for 300. Here it comes. Oh, picks up 7. Great job by Brendan Stevenson, nonetheless.
Great try. For those of you who have never experienced, the chasing of perfection is nearly impossible. So anytime you can come close to it, it's an amazing thing. So good for him, good for his dad. Very proud.
The coach took off the coach's hat, put on the dad hat just for a second there and gave his kid a hug. A well-deserved. Excellent game by Brendan Stevenson. 297 for Brendan Stevenson. 297 for Brendan Stevenson. And now the lanes are back to moving. Matt Carmestro picks up his spare in the 9th. Zach Harnischfeger picks up his spare. And it's a 207 for Zach. Matt Haslip in the 9th. Coming off a strike in the 8th. He's got 2 in a row. You know, in a way, I'm happy for Brendan that it was in his final game, because it's tough to come back after that kind of build-up and to bowl another game afterwards.
Absolutely, I'm sure the adrenaline in his heart rate's probably 160, 165. So he'll be able to get a rest now, and you're absolutely right. If it was in the 2nd game, oftentimes you'll see a huge collapse the 3rd game because that adrenaline just leaves the body and you're weak. You're weak and numb.
And as far as coach, he lived and died with every throw. And you just saw over here him collapse a little bit himself with that kind of pressure now off. And again, I know he was pulling for his son as he would pull for anybody, but when it's your kid.
My hat's off to any individual who wants to coach their child. That's double duty, and God bless those who want to do it.
Just haven't had a chance to mention, but Jake Morrell also had a solid game there with I believe a 237 over there for Jake in the 3rd game.
Jake has all the components. There's not much left to coach in Jake. It's just a matter of him believing in himself and getting him to hit get consistent around hitting the same mark, and those kind of scores will be average for him.
Justin Bowe subbed in for this third game, and he ended up with a 148 for Greece Athena. So looking at the scores, and the boys now are finished over on lanes 7 and 8. How about this for scores? And we talked about who's been really coming through recently, and the Carmestro. Haslip has had a couple weeks. That bowling. Parsons has been, who's not here, has had an excellent bowling as of late. Well, Mason Williams just bowled a 179, a 248, 242 with a 669 series. Brendan Stevenson, 219, 223, 297 for a 739 series. Not bad if you can get your if in fact they are your fourth and fifth bowler.
Absolutely.
Have those guys come through like that. That's phenomenal. And again, as we're finishing up, Anthony Getty just finished the 10th frame, and he ended up with a 210.
Yeah, if I guess the only thing left to say about that is, Tommy, you need to get back here. There are truly people gunning for your spot. So I hope everything's well with you and your family, and get back soon.
Anthony Getty with a 233, a 237, and a 210 for a 680 series, a 227 average for Anthony Getty. Are they getting ready for sectionals or what?
They're getting ready for sectionals. This is exactly the time you want to start to see these kind of scores, that kind of confidence level to go into sectionals with.
Matthew Carmester had a 226 in the first game, struggled a little bit in the second with a 177. 9 spare in the 10th for this third and final game. Strikes in the final throw, but ends up with a 247. Not the model of consistency, but the model of bouncing back.
And that's what you get from a freshman. And it's hard to realize that, but Matt's in his third year of varsity competition, and he's only a freshman, and you're going to get those kind of ups and downs every once in a while. But overall, I trust him with any shot any day.
650 series from Matthew Carmestro. Again, with a little struggle there in the middle, but came back strong in the third game. Haslip, who's had his ups and downs so far today, is now coming off of 3 strikes in a row in the ball in the 10th.
Matthew, again, is another one that, or Kenny, I'm sorry, is another one that you can just see by body language where his confidence level is. And right now it's off the chart, and it's showing in his ball.
Greece Athena in lanes 9 and 10 with strong games of Bobby Richmond with a 219, Camden Drexel with a 211, and Ryan Phillips just finished with a 231. Here comes Haslip, second ball, 10th frame, off 3 in a row. It's 4 in a row. He knew it.
Absolutely. Again, the body language is there, the confidence is there. Now it's just a matter of getting that consistency off the ball off your hand, and he's doing it very well to the 2 and a 4 in a row.
This is some incredible bowling going on. We're watching, especially in this third game. On lanes 7 and 8, we had scores of 242, 297, 237. Only to be answered over here on lane 8 and 9 or 9 and 10 from the Hilton bowlers. Getty with a 210, Carmester with a 247. And with a 226 from Haslip to finish up his last game of the day.
Boy, Red.
It's can never. Now, folks, I don't know if I'm sure how this works. There's 6 bowlers, but the low score gets dropped.
Low score gets dropped. So right now, if you threw a 210 this particular day, that's not good enough. So that talks about the kind of bowling that was done here today, that you have the luxury to throw away a 210.
A 210. How often do you throw away a 200 game around here?
About as often as I use a comb and brush.
We'd have to be on set for you to understand how funny of a joke that is. But excellent bowling. The boys end up with, in this third game, 12:49. 12:49 net score. 14:59 raw. 12:49 net.
1,200 will give anybody in the state a run. If you can get the kids to buy into that number, there are a few places in the state that are going to compete with 1,200.
And Greece Athena with a 1089, 11 pins from that 1100 mark.
Which is an excellent score and one that you'd be incredibly pleased with on any day, except when somebody throws a 1,200 against you.
Wow. So from on lanes 9 and 10, Anthony Getty with a 680 series, Carmestra with a 650 series, and Haslip with a 666 series. Getty with a 227 average, 217 average for Carmestro, a 222 average for Haslip. And folks, if you weren't with us earlier, we did. Brendan Stevenson went into the 10th frame with 9 strikes in a row, got the first 2 as the alleys went silent as everybody was watching, including the coach, who happens to be dad for Brendan Stevenson. He got 7 in that last throw. I'm sure he's disappointed, but it's an experience he'll remember forever, and it was an excellent 297 game for Brendan Stevenson. Without a doubt, the boys are gearing up for what is going to be a great, without a doubt, a great sectional run. Folks, we have a little anomaly here today. We had little lane problems on 13 and 14, and the girls, although all other 6 lanes are done, on lanes 13 and 14, we're still bowling. We're still bowling, and we have another lane breakdown. We're hoping to get this match in on the broadcast. We will see. Right now, the ball didn't return on 13. They're working on it. Give you an update on the scores. We have from Greece Athena, Julia LeVay with a 72 through 6. For Hilton, Emily Richards has a 69 through 5 with a spare in the 6th. Jenny Reisner has a 104 through 5 with a spare in the 6th. Elena Carr has a 109 through 5 with a strike in the 6th. Elena Carr having a solid game to finish up her day. Folks, again, if you are looking for these scores and the overalls, a link has been shared to the Hilton Athletics Twitter account where you can follow along to this match and tomorrow's match with a spreadsheet that is updated in real time of all the scores. You'll want to take a look at the boys' scores, as the scores the boys have put together from Hilton especially have been phenomenal today. And we're just finishing up on lanes 13 and 14 to finish out the day. LeVay got 7 in the first. Had a long wait for that second throw, and she ends up not picking up her spare. Emily Richards coming up a spare in the 6th, a strike in the 7th for Richards. Coach, we haven't really got a chance to talk about it. Elena Richards, she seems very quiet, but a solid bowler nonetheless.
She is. She's the type of kid that makes you proud to be a coach. She's a sponge. She'll take in anything you say. She always has a smile on her face, and it was an honor for me to have been a part of her life for a couple of years.
Okay, we're picking up the pace here with 2 strikes in a row with Richards. And now Hudzinski from Greece Athena. Elena Carr from Hilton will be up next. Or Megan Sturp will be up from Greece Athena next. Sturp gets 7. She had coming off an open in the 6th. She's got 73 in the 6th with a 7 and her first ball in the 7th. Carr with a strike in the 6th and a strike in the 7th for 2 in a row.
There you go. There you go.
Megan Stirrup looking to pick up her spare. She looks like got a great shot at it, and Stirrup does pick up the spare. Real easy broadcast here. We've only got 2 lanes for the last 10, 15 minutes. Hopefully we'll see some solid bowling to finish up. LeVay, the starter for Greece Athena. An open in the 7th, 79 through 7, picks up 7 again. And here comes Emily Richards. Strike in the 7th. Just doesn't get far enough left, misses the head pin. She'll pick up 6. And because we're only showing just the last 2 lanes, and we have the opportunity, this young man doesn't know it, but he happens to be standing right in front of me, and he had a 297. So I think, Coach, we got to take the opportunity to bring this young man over here and interview the guy who ended up with a 297. So, Brennan, you had the place quiet. Tell me what you were thinking when, as you got further down in your game. Let's talk about what were you thinking during the 7th.
I wasn't really thinking about much. I was just trying to do my approach, hit my mark, and just do what I've been doing for the past 7 frames.
That sounds like a coach's kid.
Yeah.
Coach Feely, question for him?
In the to start the 10th, what was your approach? What was your thought in starting the 10th frame?
For me, it was just kind of unbelievable. In the beginning of the season, I went through kind of a struggle, and I've just been working nonstop, so it was kind of amazing that I got to this point no matter what happened.
And on the last ball, as you're standing on the approach, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I got a lot of adrenaline going through my body, and I was just trying to do my best to do what I've been doing, and I just left a bad split, and it happens.
And it happens. Did you feel the how it changed? Your body changed when the pressure hits and when everybody's watching. I always found it interesting. Been in that situation where it's like, holy cow! Look, I feel differently. I feel different as I approach this, and trying to manage that. It's a struggle.
Yeah, my knees were shaking a bit. I'm gonna admit there was a lot going through my head, and I'm also trying to stay calm at the same time, and it was just kind of crazy moment going on with the place quiet, especially too. No one else bowling, everyone's watching. It's crazy.
It looked like your dad's knees were a little wobbly too. It was kind of fun to watch him watch you. So he was right there with you with that adrenaline rush.
And if you get the opportunity, you got to go watch. Hopefully there's video of your dad as he stood there, because I think he was pulling with every shot that you took in that 10th frame especially. And his knees may have gotten a little wobbly too. So but let me ask you, it's a question that everybody asks. Is that the first time you've been through that?
Yeah, that's the furthest I've ever gotten. The furthest before that was front 7. So it was a big leap, and it was just kind of crazy to go through.
Well, congratulations for that. It was an excellent game, and you had everybody here rooting for you, and it was an experience for all of us too.
I can't tell you how happy I was to be here to see it. You have come a long way, and it's because of hard work. It's not luck. You work at this sport, and I'm very proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Coach.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brendan Stevenson, 297, the final game. Brendan, before you go, is it your highest series by chance?
Yeah, that was my highest series, and before that was 670, so another big leap tonight.
670, his former highest series. He goes from 670 to 739. You know, it may be a personal history, but we saw a little bit of history here today for Brendan Stevenson. Congratulations, Brendan. Back over here, we're finishing the 9th frame for the girls. Jenny Reisner has a 3 in a row with a 154 in the 7th. Emily Richards has a strike of the 9th Elena Carr, 176 in the 8th, 9 in her first ball in the 9th. She'll be looking to pick up the spare, and we'll have the 10th frame for the girls. Elena Carr, she's got the spare. Megan Stirrup with her first ball in the 9th.
All right, finish strong now. Finish strong.
Stirrup picks up 9 in the 9th. Folks, in case you don't know, we'll be back here tomorrow as the Hilton Cadets will be hosting the Spenceport Rangers for their final home match. As you know, we have a week off next week. There'll be no matches, and then the sectionals will be in the last week of February. Stirrup misses on her pickup, and she ends up with a 119 in the 9th for Stirrup. LeVay picks up 7 in her first ball in the 10th. And she misses the spare, leaves it open with a 112 for LeVay in her third game. Emily Richards with 9 coming off the strike of the 9th. Hodzinski, her first ball in the 10th. Ends up with 9, leaving the 7 pin. Emily Richards gets the spare, earns it to third ball. Richards with a 137 through 9. She'll have 147 plus whatever she gets on this ball for her game.
10 in the pit, Nene, 10 in the pit.
Hodzinski, her second ball in the 10th. Pick up her spare. She picks up the spare. She'll have a third ball. Emily Richards, 147 plus 8. 155 for Emily Richards.
Good game.
Hodzinski for her final ball of the day. Picks up 6 pins. 133 for Hodzinski in her third game. Jenny Reeser gets 9 on her first ball in the 10th. Stirrup, first ball in the 10th frame for Grease Athena. She's got a 119 in the 9th, coming off an open. Tough split for her. Jenny Reeser to get the spare, and for a third ball. Looks solid. No, I spoke too soon. She missed it. Jenny Reeser ends up with a 211, coach. Is that over there? 211 for Jenny Reeser. Still a solid game for Jenny. Specs Reeser.
It's a day for first in terms of new scores for people. Emily Nene shot her first 600. She shot a 604 today.
Emily Richards with a 269, 180, 155, 604 series for Nene. Elena Carr to finish out the day for Hilton. Crosses over. She picks up 8. Stirrup did get that spare. Nice pickup by Stirrup on that ugly looking split. 129 plus. Can't see what Stirrup ended up with. Should be 138.
138.
Elena Carr to get her spare in the 10th. And she cuts it off. 130, is that 136 first stirrup, my bad. Elena Carr had an open in the 10th, ends up with a 203. 203. So Emily Richards with a 269, 180, 155, 604 series. Jenny Specs Reeser with a 179, 180, 211, 570 series. And Elena Carr with a 183, 189, 203, 575 series. For some solid bowling all the way across for the Hilton Cadets, taking all points here today. Just finishing up the score, the tallies here. Coach, tell me about what do you see here? Both the Hilton girls and boys. Overall, 3,099 for the girls, 3,455 for the boys.
I would say that right now they're a coach's dream. They appear to be hitting their stride exactly when you would want them to, with the sectionals right around the corner. You know, now you would just work on consistency and getting them to continue to believe in the stroke that they showed today. And if that occurs, I think Section 5 should be put on alert.
Do you hear that, Section 5? The cadets are coming. Folks, we thank you for tuning in and watching this Hilton Cadets Bowling.
Steve, I got one last thing, and it's a thank you to you. Oftentimes in the bowling world, we consider ourselves the redheaded stepchildren of the sports world, not getting the acclimate that football and hockey and baseball and the big four sports get. So you taking the time and the opportunity to come here and do what you do for the kids and for their parents, as a former coach and a cadet for life, I thank you for what you do.
It's been a pleasure, and it's more than anything, it's been an education for me. You know, I'm usually coaching basketball during the winter. I don't get this opportunity, but in the future it definitely will happen because these guys, they're great. You see a great team aspect to this. You see a great skill level of kids who are working. We've talked to a few kids who we've seen definite improvement. I've seen improvement during the year, so they're putting in the time, the effort. These are student athletes.
Absolutely.
And they deserve to be recognized as such. So in Hilton, if you're not paying attention to the boys and girls bowling teams, you should be. There's a great history here. This gentleman has been a part of it, and they're hoping to add more to that history this year, and it should be exciting. Again, tomorrow we're back here at Pleasure Lanes for another 3:30, 4 o'clock matchup against Hilton and Spencerport, and hopefully, and it's being worked out. No divulging no secrets because it has not definitely been done, but we're hoping that maybe we can carry this over into sectionals to give people live updates when it's actually occurring, since we will still be under the COVID restrictions. Should be fun, and maybe we can get this guy to come out and back out and help us out with this. All right, so you everybody have a great night. We thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Thanks, Steve. Yep.